Welcome to the Retirement with and On Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Lawson, and this show is all about helping you not just reach retirement, but truly thrive in it. You've put in the work, now let's make sure you can enjoy every moment to the fullest. Today's episode is inspired by a recent article in the Wall Street Journal titled "On the Fence About a Spending Decision, Try the 0.01% Rule." So the financial industry has a lot of different rules that are very catchy. You know, the 4% rule, the 50-30-20 budgeting rule. There's all kind of rules that are really ingrained in the personal finance world. But here's one that came across my radar that's relatively new, but has some potential merit, and you'll see why as we kind of quote this article today. But the source of this rule is Nick Maggiulli. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Nick Maggiulli, and he's the author of a new personal finance book that proposes a way to calculate the amount of money you can spend worry-free. So that 0.01% rule is designed to help you get a better gauge of how much money you can spend worry-free. The rule states, quoting here, if you are torn about making a purchase, you don't need to stress about it if the amount of money at stake is 0.01% or less of your net worth. So what does that look like in real numbers? Someone with $500,000 in wealth could spend $50 worry-free according to the rule. Someone with $100,000 could therefore spend $10 worry-free. So for those of us, particularly those that are known amongst our family and friends as being, very, very tight, very, very budget conscious, very cheap, this can help you get a better sense of, can I go to Starbucks occasionally and splurge on that seasonal latte? Or next time I'm at Chipotle, can I add guacamole to my bowl? This kind of gives us at least a framework to think through in whether or not that amount of money that is within our worry-free budget. So the rule was created by, again, author Nick Maggiulli as a way to approximate what qualifies as a trivial amount of money to someone. He described in his book. And it derives from the relatively cautious assumption that someone's assets will have a long-term real rate of return of a bit under 4% a year, or about 0.01% a day. So that's how this rule came to be, is assuming that the growth in our money is around 4% a year, which is historically very conservative. So I can appreciate this rule even more. 4% a year breaks down to about 0.01% a day. So spending that portion of your net worth one day wouldn't take away from your existing wealth. This rule is, again, very, very helpful. I can think of a lot of different examples, but we've got a lot of clients with 7-8 figures of net worth that will consistently go, to this restaurant instead of this one because they're running a special, or will shop at this grocery store instead of this one because they've got half price meat this week, which that habit is why they've been able to build up such a healthy net worth. But at the same time, it's a very difficult line of thinking to break. Sometimes it's helpful to live a little more freely and optimize for convenience and peace of mind by taking advantage of the worry-free money that this rule creates. So, quoting again, about 15 to 25% of people say they have trouble spending money, according to the research by Scott Rick, a marketing professor at University of Michigan. So about a quarter of people say they have trouble spending money. I see this a lot too with retirees who have, again, spent their whole life kind of working and saving and working and saving. It's a very difficult psychological transition sometimes for someone to go from working and saving to spending, and seeing their savings start to decline in value because they're now living off their savings. So the goal, again, of the rule is to help people spend less mental energy on relatively small financial decisions. Indeed, Rick said that the frequency of day-to-day transactions makes them loom large in people's mind when they might be better off paying more attention to, say, how much they put into a child's college savings account. I think about that once every 2 years, Rick said, him referring to how much he puts in his child's education savings. I think about DoorDash delivery fees much more frequently. So a lot of, personal finance online articles or attention seekers will talk about the harms of, splurging on that daily trip to Starbucks or going out to lunch too frequently. And this rule can at least give us a better sense of how harmful that splurge may be. If it falls within 0.01% of your net worth, it may not be too harmful at all. And again, I think Rick's point at the end here can't be overstated enough. So many of us give a lot of attention to trying to save on gas or eliminate too many trips to the local coffee shop and eating out too frequently. And all that, again, is important and really helps at least develop a habit for saving. But we should give a lot more attention to these larger financial decisions, like how much we're going to put in our child's education, how much we're going to pay for a home, what kind of car we're going to drive. These have a much more lasting impact on our financial well-being than some of these more frequent decisions on whether or not the DoorDash delivery fee is worth it or whether or not we're going to add guacamole to our next Chipotle order. So keep the 0.01% rule in mind next time you're thinking about whether to opt for additional legroom on the plane. I hope you found this enlightening, and if nothing else, gives you just a framework to think about next time you go to make a decision that maybe is designed for comfort more so than necessity. This can help you think about whether or not it's going to have an impact at all on your financial well-being long term. As always, take care, and I'll look forward to being with you again soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Retirement with and On Purpose podcast. I hope you're walking away with new ideas and a fresh perspective on how to make the most of your retirement journey. And remember, retirement isn't the end. It's your time to live with purpose. Until next time, I'm Trevor Lawson. Here's to a fulfilling and thriving retirement.